Hello, great people. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja, is dead. In this video, I'll be telling you the circumstance behind his death, how the death could have been averted, how Nigeria happened to Taoreed Lagbaja. You know the saying that may Nigeria never happen to you. Trust me, it is a very serious prayer. I'll also be telling you the politics behind the emergence of Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede. I'll also be telling you how the president swiftly promoted him from Major General to Lieutenant General. The mandate given to the acting Chief of Army Staff, and of course, a whole lot more on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omosoladeji. But first, let me place my condolence to the family of the late Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. Taoreed Lagbaja served Nigeria quite well. In his capacity as Chief of Army Staff, there was no much scandal, there was no much human rights abuses during his reign. His reign is short-lived because perhaps he could have served longer than that. Buratai under Buhari served for 6 years, so we can say his reign has been short-lived by death. But then we pray that God will grant his family, his wife, his children, the fortitude to bear the loss. Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja served Nigeria well in his capacity, and I think it is a great loss for the country at this point in time. Now, what are the circumstances behind Lagbaja's death? Lagbaja is one person that hardly falls sick, and people that hardly fall sick needs to be very careful, and I think that's one of the lessons that we need to learn from Lagbaja's death. There are some people that maybe amongst your family and friends that they hardly fall sick. If everybody is falling sick, if sickness is befalling everybody, they will not fall sick. Nothing will happen to them. You see, those kind of people, when they will fall sick, is usually very tragic, very disastrous, and it can just lead to their death. So that is why it is good that when you get to some certain age, if you are the type that doesn't usually fall sick, and God has blessed you with enough power, resources, and wealth, that you always go for periodic medical checkup. If Lagbaja has been always been going for periodic medical checkup, he would have discovered the cancer early enough, because it is reported that he died of stage 3 cancer. Now, Lagbaja would have detected it early enough, because cancer is not an ailment that once it happens to you, you just die instantly like that. No, that's not how it happens. Cancer is something that it starts slowly, it starts small, very tiny. Then if you don't take care of it, it begins to spread. So when that cancer allegedly happened to him, if it had been detected early, then they would have conducted an operation for him to remove the cancer from where it is. And that's why you see that some women, when they are diagnosed of breast cancer, they just say, okay, remove the breast, just for them to be on this safe side. So what I think is that Lagbaja, if he had been very cautious, perhaps he would have lived long, and Nigeria would not have been suffering this tragic loss at this point in time. Now, another thing is that Nigeria doesn't have good hospitals, and that's where Nigeria happened to Taoreed Lagbaja. See, how can a country of 200 million population not have a very good hospital that can, cater for the welfare of high-profile persons like Lagbaja? When it happened, right, they now have to fly him abroad. The hours that he will use in the plane for him to be flown abroad are not. What if it had happened during COVID period? We also how Abba Kyari died, and I thought that Nigeria would have learned its lesson during that period. But then there's no viable, strong hospital, government-owned hospital that can cater for all these high-profile persons. They still have to be flown abroad. And to make it worse, most Nigerians that are going abroad on medical tourism are using hard-earned money to fly abroad to go and meet Nigerian doctors. Imagine you leave your country to seek medical treatment abroad, and you'll be attended to by your kinsman, your fellow Nigerians. How sad can that be? So I think this is a lesson, because now Nigeria has happened to Lagbaja, unfortunately, and that is very sad. Now, let us look at government management of Lagbaja's death. There's been a lot in the news. There's been a lot of commentary that, oh, Lagbaja died weeks ago, Lagbaja died days ago, months ago, and people are saying, oh, the government is lying. People like Jackson Ude, the journalist, Aisha Yusufu, they broke the news and all that. The truth is, whether Lagbaja died weeks ago or he died months ago, I can tell you as a political scientist that government handled the death of Lagbaja very well. It was well stage managed. His death was well stage managed on two fronts. In the sense that his death was managed well in terms of that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is protected and the president himself is also protected. And I will explain the two to you. First, the government is protected because Lagbaja died at a time whereby there is call for military intervention in politics. Lagbaja died at a time whereby people were flying Russian flags. Lagbaja died at a time whereby there's so much economic hardship and there's displacement across Nigeria. So at that crucial point in time, if you lose the chief of army staff, who happens to be the commanding officer in the military, definitely you have to be very careful and manage his death properly in such a way that the government, the sitting government, is protected. See, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not good at doing so many things right. That is the truth. But this one, the government managed the death of Taoreed Lagbaja very well. Because, see, the truth is that if you are the president, what would you have done? When there's so much clamor in the country, definitely you want to stage manage it well in such a way that your regime, your government is protected. Because if this death has just been announced anyhow, that can give, opportunity for maybe some rogue military officers to take advantage of that, cash in on it, and do the unthinkable. So government handled it well in such a way that the government is protected. Now, the second one, the president is also protected in the sense that if the death of Lagbaja has not been announced anyhow, the president will come under pressure because recommendation will be coming from past head of state, it will be coming from influential people, because for the likes of IBB, Obasanjo, Theophilus, Danjuma, Akinade, all these guys, they have boys in the military. So when there is a vacuum, and everybody knows that there is a vacuum, definitely some of them may want to be coming in with recommendations. And the president has to be careful in such a way that he doesn't offend some important people. So if government is playing the card that there is no vacuum, that Lagbaja is still alive, it's just a strategic way to manage his death in such a way that it will give the president time to kind of like restructure things right in such a way that he and his government will be protected. And I think that, to my mind as a political scientist, the government managed the death of Lagbaja very well in such a way that the government and the president is protected. You know that I don't pamper the president. If he does anything wrong, I'm one of the people that used to give him blows without mercy. But on this one, it was well managed as a government and it was done quite well. But one thing that saddens my mind is Lagbaja died in the peak of his glory. See, it is important. Let us always pray. May we not die in the peak of our glory. The race of every military man, when Lagbaja joined the military, is important prayer to God is, God, if you can give me the grace to be the chief of army staff one day. He became the chief of army staff, and when he was about to be enjoying the office and everything and all the right and privilege and dividend that comes with it, he died. That is he dying in the peak of his glory. Buratai used 6 years as chief of army staff. So if everything had gone right, Oluyede is just 56. That means that he still has many years to use in service. And if everything had gone right, maybe he would have stayed in service for as long as possible. But then he died in active service as one of the top military commanders in Nigeria. So that means he died in the peak of his glory. And the implication of that is the people that Taoreed Lagbaja would have helped to join the military, the people that would have received contract from Taoreed Lagbaja, people that would have benefited from him, his associate, his political boys. That means that they will all be affected. And now, another thing is that, see, his boys would not be at the forefront and position of privilege again. You know that every king has his own sub-kings. When Buhari was the king, when he was the president, he has his own sub-kings, the Malami of this world, Babagana Mungunu, the then NSA, Buratai, the former military head. So he has his strategic guys. Right? Now that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the one at the helm of affairs, he has his own strategic guys also, the likes of Bayo Ononuga, Femi Gbajabiamila, Sunday Dare, and a host of them. So the implication of Lagbaja's death is that his boys will no longer be at the forefront because Oluyede, the acting chief of army staff, will have his own sub-kings. As the king, he will have his own sub-king. So the prayer is that anybody that is glory will be making your own glory to shine. May that person never die, yo. Because now glory, they push glory. Now that Lagbaja is dead, his boys now, you know, their own glory has been affected because Oluyede would naturally put his own boys in key positions. It is just natural. Now, another thing that we need to look at that gives me great concern is that, or if I can give Oluyede a mandate, is that please don't go the way of Nuhu Ribadu and Remi Tinubu, the National Security Advisor and First Lady, respectively. Please, all this call for national prayer, sir, it is not your duty to be organizing national prayer. It is your duty to use kinetic and non-kinetic approach to send bandits, murderers, S-men, Boko Haramists, Islamist fundamentalists, kidnappers, to send them to their creator, to send them to God and leave them, you know, at the footstep of God for God to do their judgment. So I don't believe in, you know, praying. God is not a Nigerian. So I hope that you will get your hearts right and not join them, because I don't want to see you in the prayer ground though and say you are praying for insecurity to go away. No, prayer will not send insecurity away. Use your military skill as a professional. Bring in the kinetic and non-kinetic approach to curb insurgency and insecurity in Nigeria. Not that you will now start praying. And another thing before you, which is very important, is to advocate for better welfare package for your boys. See, the military guys should be able to use iPhone, should be able to drive good car, should have a good roof over their head. So if the political class can kind of like increase the salary of judges by over 300%, just because they know that their case will go to the table of those judges, use your high office to interface with the president, the legislature, and every necessary office to make sure that you get a better package for your boys. It is quite very important, I think, so that there will be better welfare for the military. Because if the military, if they are not doing their job right, definitely the judge cannot even sit in court. Maybe Boko Haram would have overrun the country. The National Assembly won't be able to sit. So use your high office to advocate for better welfare for the military boys. It is very, very important. Now, one thing that is also important that I've been able to identify in all this issue of Taoreed Lagbaja's death is the way his death was announced. And I stand to be corrected. I don't think it is the duty of Bayo Ononuga, who happens to be the spokesperson of the president, to announce Taoreed Lagbaja's death. And I will explain. I know that the president is the commander-in-chief of armed forces, but then he is holding that office by virtue because he is the president. He is the ceremonial head of the military, not because he is a military man. The military is a professional institution. For instance, the president is the visitor to all universities in Nigeria, right? Is the visitor. So if you are announcing the death of Taoreed Lagbaja, is he right? Why not leave it for the military high command to announce the death of Taoreed Lagbaja? I think that's the best way it should have happened. Not the president or the spokesperson, the mouth of the president, now announcing the death of Lagbaja. If the vice chancellor of a university dies and the president is the visitor of that university, will it be the president to be announcing the death of the vice chancellor? If any one of the top head in DSS, civil defense, police, if any one of them, God forbid, dies, will it be the president that will be announcing their death? No, let the military announce the death of their chief of army staff, you will now come in as the visitor, or if you like, the commander-in-chief, to pay condolence to the military, pay condolence to the family of Lagbaja, pay condolence to Nigeria in general, and extol the virtues of Taoreed Lagbaja. That is how it is done professionally and in other climes. Not the president that will be announcing the death of a chief of army staff. I think that the people in the presidency, I think they need some retreat. They need some orientations on how to do things quite properly and more effectively, if I can use that word. Now, I want to speak to you that you are watching me. Some of you would think that, oh, don't speak about the military. You are speaking about the military. You know, you make it appear as if you speak about the military, you will die instantly. You make it look at everything about the military is about brutality, death, sorrow, and blood. No, you are demonizing the military. The military is a public institution that is being run with taxpayers' money. And the military itself can be put under public scrutiny. Like, if the military does bad, when the people speak about it, like, for instance, the NSAS, Odi massacre, those are things that people will condemn. The only thing is that don't castigate the military, don't cast aspersions on the military illogically. So don't say that someone cannot speak about the military. The military is an institution in Nigeria that is being funded by taxpayers' money. So you can speak about the military. The only thing is that you don't have to castigate and cast aspersions on the military illogically. So when you guys are shouting and screaming, oh, don't speak about the military, oh, don't... No, you are not doing justice to the military. The military is even happy when you speak about them, logically. You know, you watch TVC. Babajide Otitoju and his fellow guys in Journalist Hangout, they report about military operations, they speak about the military. But you guys that are not even military guys, if they speak about the military, you say, oh, no, don't do that. You are not being fair to the military. You are demonizing the military. The military is not all about brutality, death, sorrow, death, sorrow, and blood. No. If we speak about the military will handle you professionally. And we handle things. In fact, the military can even get some wisdom from some of the things that you have said as a professional in your own right. So we should stop, demonizing the military and make it look at, oh, you can't speak about the military. No. I wish the Lieutenant General, Acting Chief of Army Staff, Olufemi Oluyede, I wish him a good time, and I wish that his years in service will bring great progress for Nigeria. In one of the videos that I made, I spoke about he still being a major general, right? That what will happen if Lagbaja comes back and he is wearing the major general rank and other people are still wearing the rank of major general. Some people were coming for me. You can see now that he has been promoted to lieutenant general in order to give him that clear edge, that clear rank, that superiority. You understand? That puts him ahead. It's just like now, the rank that Inspector General Betokun is wearing, another police officer should be wearing that rank. Whether they are classmates, whether he seniors that person by year of commission, those are material, but at the same time immaterial. His rank should distinguish him clearly as the Chief of Army Staff. So I believe that some Nigerians need some more orientation and not to be dwelling in pure ignorance, because Nigeria military, this is Nigeria and it is called Nigerian military. So the attitude of Nigerians need to be considered, because those military guys are Nigerians as well. So, and I salute the president for promoting him, giving him that clear edge. That means that he's the one wearing the lieutenant general rank now, and others are wearing major general, brigadier general, and all that, which is good. So that gives him the clear edge. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we analyze politics and happenings in the politics. Do want to subscribe, do want to turn on your notification button, do want to catch up with my past videos, and of course, I've got great videos, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, I'm just around the corner. And of course, you already know that I love you all sincerely.